Hey guys, it's Chris, aka Beauty and the Vape with Very Vocal Vapers, and I am here today with Foolish. If you guys don't know Foolish, look him up on YouTube because he's funny. He's funny. Love his reviews. So funny. And he wants to tell his vape story. I want to quickly thank my sponsors. Without my sponsors, this would not be possible. So all my sponsors are amazing, especially my gold sponsor, Adore eLiquid. She is just an amazing, Dawn is such an amazing person in this community and does so much for this community. And that's kind of what this whole mission is about. She's just amazing. Her link is down below, so check it out. So, Foolish, at what age did you start smoking?
I was around like 18.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say 8. I was going to be like,
nah, that's country. That's country smoke right there.
Right? And when did you start vaping?
I started vaping 3 years ago. 3 years ago exactly.
And do you remember what device and nicotine strength you started on? Your first device.
Very first device. My very first device was a Clearmizer. I was vaping a Chinese milligram that was like maybe like around like a 10 or 12 or something like that. So after I got off of, after I, navigated from them, I went to, it was like I think it was an EVIC 300 mAh battery internal one. And I was vaping a 3 milligram. I actually had ordered a 0, but I did not get satisfaction from a 0. So and then I did not get the good flavor from the juice like I wanted to. So I moved over to a 3 and been on 3s ever since.
So you went from like a Chinese 10 to a 12 to a 3?
Yeah, that Chinese nicotine, they kind of warned me that it wasn't the same from your regular nicotine. I don't know what kind of nic they were using, but this was like a Chinese little setup shop that they had at a flea market, and this was like when vaping was like really early on, and a lot of people either had a neck mod or they had a Clearmizer. There wasn't no regulated mods out. So I think maybe like a year later, a year and a half later or something like that, that's when I started seeing the regulated mods. Vaping was kind of more so heavy, like Vapor DNA was out. They had the regulated mods and stuff like that. That's when I was like, oh, I did not even know that vaping was this much of a thing. So after I saw that, then I really got into it.
Right. And when you first started, did you dual use?
Dual battery?
No, dual use, like smoke and vape at the same time, like while you were making the transition, or did you just strictly go straight from?
Oh, I went straight from I went from cigarettes to the little Capone cigars into vaping. It was like even between the cigarettes and the Capone cigars, but I tried to navigate off of the cigarettes and go into the Capones, and then when I took my first vape off of a regulated mod. Now I can't remember the mod, but I remember he had the Delta 2 tank, and my first vape off of the 6 milligram, I was like, yo.
Like you were good.
I'm never smoking cigarettes again. I actually ordered my equipment that day when it came in. That was my last day even, touching the cigars. I haven't picked up a cigarette since. So.
That's good. That's good. Because I know a lot of people, when they start, do dual use, and I don't really find anything. I know some people frown upon it. To me, that's one less cigarette that you're smoking. So, everyone has to come to it on their own and figure out their thing. It's not, it's not a magic wand. It's not, one size fits all.
It's all mental to me. If you were, let's put it like this, if you were raised riding in the car with your mom and they were vaping, then you would have been a vapor. You know what I'm saying? But you were raised riding in the car with your mom and your dad, and they were smoking a cigarette. So, cigarettes was always the fad. Cigarettes was always the thing from, over here in the U.S. to overseas in any other country, cigarettes was the thing. So now that vaping is the thing, is most definitely like the new way of satisfying that crave, but will calming yourself down, or what I'm saying, cooling off the edge. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy too how we do have that sort of influence on our kids, because I mean my parents both smoked, and it was just a norm, like it was the norm, you know.
Right.
And so when you picked up a cigarette, it wasn't like really anything that bad. It wasn't like, oh, my mom's gonna kill me or anything like that, because you probably stole them from her. So
Yeah, it was a lot of things that I didn't even look at the fact that was negative about smoking cigarettes versus, what I'm saying. Well, actually, even when vaping wasn't available, there was the negative that I look at now when it comes to smoking a cigarette, versus how I did not think about them back then. Like, the smell of your clothes, how people would look at you, what it's doing to your teeth and health wise, just in general, period. I'll never forget when I went to the dentist, and they took off a chip of that plaque, from the smoking the cigarette. I was like, oh man, I gotta change, I gotta change this right here. So it was a lot of things that most definitely, before I got into vaping, that I was happy that vaping was had came out and was about, it was out here.
right, and was available. Was there anything, that's what I was going to ask too, is like there any specific thing that made you want to quit?
Yeah, it was. It was basically I wanted to see my kids live longer. I wanted to live a longer life. You see a lot of people out here that live to be 100 and something years old, or what may have you, and it's like if you're born to make a difference. Everyone's born, I believe, that what I'm saying, make a difference in the world. And how could you make that difference if you're shortening your lifespan? You know, and I remember I was one day just sitting in the bed, and I was wanting to I was like, just thinking about my kids. It was just one of those odd moments where I was just having my little godly thoughts. I was thinking about my kids, and I'm just laying in the bed like, man, you know, I want to see them live longer. You know what I'm saying? I want to be 80 and see my kids, 50 years old and stuff like that. And I don't see that being able to transpire, you know, continually smoking these cigarettes, and it was just the worst thing. And then when I went over my buddy's house, and of a person's house that I never ever went over a day in my life, it just so happened I go over his house, and my prayers was answered because he was into vaping, and at the same time he works at my job, So I never, asked him, I never seen him with the vape mod or anything like that, So when I went over his house and I looked at it, I was like, yo, like, what is that? And he was like, this is, vaping. I was like, hold on, but when last time I was vaping, they had the little stick pins, and
Right.
now they have this. It was like, yeah, go ahead and try it out. And that was it. I was like, my prayers have been answered. I'm not going back.
It's like the gates open and the angels start singing. You're like, woo!
Yes. And I was like, it's funny how I have very bad, memory, but I never forget the tank that I had, and I never forget the juice that I started with, which was unicorn milk. And it's like everybody that gets unicorn milk, they love unicorn milk. It just drives them into vaping. They're looking for the next best thing other than unicorn milk. And I'm like, yo, unicorn milk is so old, but it's the one thing that, continues to drive people into wanting to try other juices, and they're satisfied off of vaping. So it's crazy. Even my kid mom, she vapes to 0 milligrams. She loves unicorn milk. I'm like, man.
I know. It's like now you think like there's so many things out there, but you have to give it to Pip and Suicide Bunny because there's so many people that were converted with unicorn milk. So like
yes.
that tells you something.
Yeah, it's crack.
That's great. And I also, just want to mention too that like as I tell everybody, because when people approach me or I approach people, and they're like, no, I don't want to tell you. My story's stupid. It doesn't matter. It's boring. I'm like, I don't care if you just stopped smoking because you wanted to be able to run around the block. Like it doesn't no, you know, any excuse to lengthen your life, like you said, is a good reason.
Right. I
So
didn't want to. I didn't. It just was most definitely my. It was my prayer to a better life. You know what I'm saying? More healthier life. And I most definitely had to cut. You know, when I got my first, when I got that mod in, when I got my mod in, I never purchased another. Now, and it's crazy because vaping most definitely is a little bit more expensive to me, especially when I got into it. Because if you want to try out all these blends that's out, you know, you're looking for something that you know most definitely would be able to cater to your type, your taste palette. It can be expensive, and then a lot of people look at it in so many different ways as to like a new juice comes out, they have to have that new juice. So a lot of people have turned into from trying to navigate all cigarettes to turn it into a hobby. You know, with getting all the equipment and getting all the different blends. So it it has this nice little, you know what I'm saying? It has a lot of pluses. It has a lot more pluses than smoking cigarettes, most definitely. As far as like, you
absolutely.
know,
What choices do you have with cigarettes? Regular or
right?
menthol?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Well, it's not just that. It's not just that. It's more. It's not even with the flavors of the juices. It's more so the community and the power that it has. Like you know what I'm saying. You don't see no groups of people. You don't see as many groups for a fucking Newport, you know, community or
Newport lovers.
Marlboro community. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Than you would off of. You would get out of the positivity of a mech mod company or the companies that are just doing the positive stuff in general. You know what I'm saying? You have more companies that, you know, more vape companies doing so much positive stuff out here than the tobacco companies. You know, like it's crazy. You know, we have to sit back on the vape side and cater to the product not appealing to children when cigarettes have been out for the longest time and they don't have to appeal to children, but children still are vape. I mean, are smoking them anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so many regulations that have done went into on vaping versus tobacco companies. You know what I'm saying? Basically, gets to get to roam the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like they're billionaires, so it's pretty much like there ain't no stopping them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So especially as much as people are able to get together. You know, like let's say this: if you're walking down the street and you see someone vaping, you can talk to them and say, hey, you know, like, you know, I see you see them with this kind of mod. You see them with a little to-go kit, you know, and you walking up and you're squonking. And they look over and they like, you know, first thing say, hey, what's that?
Yeah, they want
You
to know.
know,
Right.
but if you're standing on the corner and I'm standing on the corner smoking a cigarette, I'm not going to say nothing to you. There's nothing to talk about. You know what I'm
Unless
saying?
someone's saying, can I bum a smoke? Other than that,
Yeah.
there's no conversation.
And then you have people that say, hey, can I get a cigarette? I don't smoke cigarettes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's such, you
That is
know,
the best feeling. The first time somebody asked me if they could have a cigarette, and I was like, I don't smoke. That was the best feeling. It felt weird, but I was just like, that's
right.
awesome. I don't smoke. You know?
They see the vapor and they always a lot of times, you know, like you see an average, you know, person on the street that, you know, asks for a cigarette. Hey, you know, like you gotta they don't see the mod in your hand, they just see the smoke. So they'll be like, hey, you got a cigarette? And I'll be like, no. And then they look down at your hand and be like,
You're like,
oh, I thought that was a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? No, no.
oh,
So it has a lot. And like at the same time, when I first got into vaping, it was crazy how I could walk into a vape shop and you know, just easily start a conversation with somebody and talk about, you know, juices, what may have you, no matter how they looked or what their ethnicity was, you know, there was no hatred, you know, like we was all one. You're all one in the vape shop. You know what I'm saying? You could
yep.
be in there with any kind of group or whatever and see somebody across the room with a piece of equipment and go over there and talk to that person rather than being in the club and trying to say something to somebody and they looking at you like, what the fuck are you over here for? You know, so it's a lot of positives. It's a lot of positives in the vaping community, most definitely when it comes to vaping in general, period.
Yeah, absolutely. And community is such a huge part of it. And I love every time, every vape story that I get, I learn something. Number one, I learned something about that person that I didn't know. And it also makes me realize that I'm not any different. I'm not that much different from you or the next guy or the next guy or the next guy. You know, I mean, I hear these vape stories and I'm like, yeah, yeah, oh my God, yeah. It's just, it really gives me all, there's so much positive in the vape community and there's a lot of negative. So like when I kind of get stuck in my head with the negative and I do these vape stories, as soon as I click off, I'm like, okay, that's why I'm doing this. Like
Right.
you guys help me. Like you guys have no idea because everyone thanks me and I'm like, no, thank you because you have no idea how often I can get in my head and just be depressed and oh this is horrible whatever.
Yes.
As soon as I talk to somebody it's and hear their positives and hear their accomplishments and everything, I walk away and go, this is why I'm doing this. Like thank
Right.
you just made my day so much better.
And it's funny you say that because the same thing happened. The same thing happens to me, um, if not once a week, maybe twice or three times a week, where I'll be sitting down and I'm like, I'll be wanting to do a review, but it's like the motivation is not there. It's like it's so much that is done, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like transpired with negativity, you know what I'm saying? You get um all just trolls in general that just come in and try to tear you down, like you get these notifications. You get your YouTube notifications now through the Chrome or whatever, so they pop up on your screen, and you'll just be seeing comments, you stupid nigger, and all kinds of little stuff like this, and I'm like, man, you really gotta be able to rise above this, and then sometimes you kind of just sit back and you kind of just a little bit feed into it, trying to wonder what is in this person's mind that just makes them say some dumb shit like they're saying, but then you have your loyal supporters that come in and say, hey man, you know what I'm saying, keep up the good work, hey man, love your video, you know what I'm saying, ha ha ha, that was funny as shit, and I'm like, bam,
That's
I'm
what
ready
I'm
to just
doing it for. Those are
I'm,
the
I'm, I'm good. I'm ready to do another one. I
yep.
have with every time I get something, I most definitely feel as though like every blend or every piece of equipment kind of like what I'm saying, like to tell its own story. And so when I try to like when I get something, I like to take my time with it just a little bit so I can give you its story or from my perspective. So um it's most definitely the loyal supporters and people, the newcomers that come in and they're like, like, yo, like, what is that guy talking about? Like, what I'm saying? This dude is, good, what I'm saying? And, they most definitely the positive vibe most definitely always keep you going. A lot of people don't know how you can get depressed quick with doing this, what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's another job. They think that it's just like, what I'm saying, something you're doing for money or for fame. And I'm like, nah, like I'm a little bit afraid of the fame and what's to come. I don't want to be out and I have one of these trolls that's sitting over here on my website, beside me wanting to take a picture just to snuff me in the face, what I'm saying, and try to get some kind of like, what I'm saying, proud moment off of it for it to go viral.
Right.
So it's a little bit, what I'm saying, you got to fear. And then like I've actually, I don't want to keep going, but I've seen a prime example was Vaping Heathen when he tried to do nice for someone
Yes, I saw
and
that video. I was
he
so mad.
caught so much backlash, what I'm saying, off of something that he wasn't trying to make profit off of. And then the other guy chimed in, was like, well, he just made some kind of RDA, so why can't you just go ahead and give her the $3,000? You got the money. And I'm like, why are you into this person's pockets? You know what I'm saying? You have someone out here that can create a GoFundMe account and get $30,000 for pizza. You know what I'm saying? But you have people out here that are in way horrible predicaments, and they're not even creating the GoFundMe account. Someone else with a heart is creating this GoFundMe account to try to help this person. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to say that, hey, I created the GoFundMe account, I put $500 in there to start it out. He doesn't have to say that. You
Is it
don't know what he's doing.
justified? Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he's doing something out of the kind of his heart, you know what I'm saying, and reaching out to the mass of subscribers that he has and doing something good. If people did not believe in it, or you know what I'm saying, if people did not have a heart, then they would have not had gotten no kind of donations whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? It would have been sitting at $25, what may have you. But you know, you have people out here like one that just very off the top, you know what I'm saying, Dawn from Adore. You know, like she'll see that story, you know what I'm saying? She knows that Vaping Heathen is a 100% loyal dude in his words, you know what I'm saying? And she'll put something to that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus someone that's just going to automatically, you know, throw up a video. You know, you're going to take your time out and do a video and say, no, you shouldn't have did this, and you know, you're going to basically down this person on, you know, him trying to do a good deed, you know, and he even went through the moment of, you know, trying to. He's so heated about it that he had to speak about it. So it's crazy sometimes the things that you know you go through in life, and it's just an experience for me.
Yeah, and you know, and I think it's great that we have this platform to do good. And I think that we really need to concentrate on that and, you know, stay out of the other stuff because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, smokers don't have this kind of platform. So, you know, it's great to have that and use it to, you know, our advantage, be good to people, be good to each other, and, you know, help whenever you can. There's no such thing as a, you know, I always tell everybody too, like, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Like, just ask it. And, you know, if I can't answer it, I'll find somebody who can answer it. You
Pretty
know,
much.
I'll point you, you know, I'll point you in the right direction. Um, you know, I think I already know the answer to this, but did you use any other methods to quit smoking? Did you try like the gum or the patch or any of that stuff?
Um, no, I did not. Only thing I ever tried was like the fake e-cigarette when it first came out, but I didn't like it. It was a waste of, you know what I'm saying, money, time, space on the shelf.
Right.
So
And you know, I don't know if you knew this, but that's what I quit on.
on those
That,
little e-cigarettes,
yes, for 3 years.
I did not like those little things. I was
I
like,
know. I must just be a freak of nature because everybody says that, and I'm like, 3 years. That's what I use, and you
I,
know, and it
I
worked
went
for me.
I went straight back to Newport.
Right? Well, that's
Don't get me back to cigarettes.
what changes in the quality of your life have you noticed since vaping?
Um, I just feel a lot more healthy. I feel a lot more energetic. Um, I just all around feel a lot more. I actually just a
You
lot
mean
of more.
there was a time when you weren't energetic? I find that hard to
Yeah,
believe.
because I mean, like you know what I'm saying. I was you're smoking you're smoking cigarettes. You know what I'm saying, and it's like you know you're just sitting back and you're smoking cigarettes, or you're riding and you're smoking cigarettes. You know, so it's like you're not really. You're just more like you know what I'm saying. Of your average, you're more so like of your average Joe. You know, like you don't. It's hard to really kind of do a whole lot while you're smoking a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you're chained to it. It
yeah,
limits you.
and versus like you know I just I have a lot more positivity now. You know, I'm actually just all around a lot more happier now since I started vaping. It's crazy. It's some things that's hard. You know, it's like one of those things that's hard to explain. But it's just so much about life that I'm so much, you know what I'm saying, open to now. Um, and when I got into vaping, it was like my eyes have been more open to the world and being more healthy now. It's just been like, you know what I'm saying, pretty, there's been a plus side of it. You know, I just feel as though that I'm going down a much better path than the road I was going down at first. So, I don't know. I just feel a lot more happier now that you know what I'm saying. I think it was more so when I was vaping at first. Okay, I was happy to you know not be smoking cigarettes. I most definitely was getting that nicotine satisfaction. But when I got to banana bondage, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my Newport. You know, it was like that the nicotine satisfaction along with the juice in itself. You know, it was my shit. But now I'm on the simple apple roll. So that has
Also by
because
Adore, guys. So if you know, we're not plugging this because she's a gold sponsor. We're plugging it because it's good.
good.
So click the link down below and get you some.
And the funniest thing about it, like, you know what I'm saying, back when Adore had the white label, everyone was most definitely bragging about it. Everyone was raving about this shit. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? You know, like, what is this? I mean, like,
how good could it be?
My DMs reigned supreme when it came to you gotta try banana bondage. It was all in my comments and everything. And I you know, my Ma sent it to me, Ready to Ma sent it to me. And when he sent it to me, I was like, yo, this is like liquid gold. Oh my gosh, this stuff.
I think I remember the first time you tried it too. I was laughing. I was just like, yep, that's everybody's response. They're like, how can it be this? It just is. Don't question it. It just is.
And most definitely you have to have tried, you know, me trying all of these juices, I now can, you know, sit back and say, me personally, I think that this blend is good. I think, you know, like you have some blends on the market where though I think that they can stand the test of time, but then you have some that just won't.
Right.
And the ones that won't are basically the ones that they just put out there and didn't care, they wanted the money.
Right. Yep.
and that's one of the things
out for the cash grab, and it shows in the liquid.
And that's one of the things that just basically downs to me that the whole industry is like, you know, you got a lot of people out here that are just trying to get a quick buck. You know, some people's their cousins getting in it real quick, just, you know, help them out. They're getting some money, they're making a blend, but okay, they helped them make a good blend, but they're not gonna keep helping them, so they're not gonna last at all. So this is a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and you know, and I made a pact, and this is just my own personal thing, because I know I've gotten a lot of crap because I do what I want to do and I could care less what people think. So, you know, I've made it quite clear that I will not review any IP theft or child appealing labels. And I tell all my friends and reviewers, I'm like, listen, I love you guys. You're my friends. You're going to be my friends regardless. Okay, this is just vaping. It ain't you know, life or death. So, you know, chill out. You're still going to be my friend, but just as you can choose to review those, I choose not to watch those videos. I don't support you. It just means those videos I will not be watching. And, you know, it's just something, you know, it's great to be able to, you know, take a stand in something and really feel like you're doing the right thing for the right reason. And
the only thing about that is is like, okay, for me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times when I first started seeing those kind of labels, you know, the IP theft labels and stuff like that, I really wasn't thinking about the IP theft situation on it. I'm also was just thinking about how the juice might be because the label looks so goddamn good. And then, you know, as they most definitely it started to get more talked about when it came to the IP theft labels. I looked at it as well as though is you got a lot of people out here that are hitting up the inboxes and hitting up the email saying that they wanted to try out products, versus you got a lot of top people in the game that's going to say that they're not going to review the product because of the labeling. They're like, they can turn around the corner real quick and say, okay, fuck that shit. I want to send it to these people right here because I know they're dying to try it out. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be just, all I got to do is send them a bottle versus sending you 10 bottles, you know, so, or paying you for the review when they want the juice. All I got to do is send it to them. So, me personally, I got to say, like, a lot of times I'll just go ahead and get it. I just go ahead and get it. I'll review it, try it out. But most definitely, I'll kind of like point out the fact that, you know, this right here might be a little bit of a child appealing and a little bit of an IP theft situation, but the juice is good.
This bottle's whack.
You know what I'm saying? You know, but I've seen some now that is a little bit like is going a little bit above and beyond, because it's like only thing that you can do is a little bit hard to not do something a little bit creative and not have it be child appealing these days, man. So like this one right here is cool, you know. cool little label, PJ Brothers,
Good company. Yep.
juices on the elegant levels. But like Cinnabon, like they'll be quick to say that this is child appealing and stuff like that. And I'm like, but so much you can do.
Yeah, it's there's definitely gray area. There's a big gray area in that whole situation, and that's why I always say I'm like, listen, this is just what I feel personally for me. This is what I need to do for me. You do
Right.
you, and I still love you and I still support you, but this is what I need to do. If I can respect you doing you, then I would expect you to respect me doing me.
You have to be an understanding person these days instead of being judgmental.
Right.
That's when things are coming into play, because if you could be an understanding person and to look at things at different angles and see where a person might be coming from, instead of automatically assuming where a person is coming from, then that will ease a situation. You won't probably have no issues that you probably would have, instead of coming off the top thinking that this is how things are.
Right.
So
Right. And I think that's great. I think it's great that we can have, I mean, obviously, things have kind of gone, Dr. Gottlieb said, we got an extension. We had, 4 more years to get our shit together. I've kind of noticed us going backwards, unfortunately. But hopefully we can all unite for the greater good of this industry, because I don't want vaping. I don't know about you. I don't want vaping to go away.
oh no.
Because we were just talking about, like, when you grow up and your parents smoke, right? Well, now your kids are going to know vaping. And so they're going to pick up that healthier alternative, hopefully, instead of the cigarettes, because that's what they know.
And it's crazy. Let me tell you, it's like when my kids come over, I have I probably have some stuff on my desk here. I have some everything on my shelf. I might have a mod or something on my bed, and it's not it is it's appealing to them. So it's not like you can defeat the purpose, but it's basically installing the knowledge. Just like our parents would slap the shit out of our hands when we would touch their cigarettes or something like that. Don't touch that. Leave my stuff alone. You know what I'm saying? So they know. You know what I'm saying? My kids are far from retarded or anything like that. So they know very well not to fire my mod off or nothing like that. They know not to press the button. They might pick it up and say, "Oh, Dad, I like your new one." You know what I'm saying? But other than that, they might pick up a bottle and say, "Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got something Apple now." Like, they'll read the label and say, "You got something Apple." But as far as like touching it and smelling and stuff like that, they don't do none of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They know actually not to even touch my stuff, because it's not nothing to be played with. So, but every once in a while they'll come in and they'll say, "Oh, you got something new," just because they like the look of it, and be like, "Oh, pick it up real quick and put it back down." But it's like I said, it's so hard to not make something that is not child appealing. Shit, kids love cars.
They're just curious. They're just curious, and I absolutely agree. And I think people get it confused when I say I support the blacklist. Not every single, and I can disagree with some of the stuff that's on there.
Mhm.
But what I try to explain to people is that, I agree that you need to parent. I agree you need to keep your juice where your kids can't get them, and your mods and everything like that. Absolutely 100%. Unfortunately, the representatives, they have nothing else to fight us with, because we have science behind us. So they're going to choose these labels. So it's really not the court of, public opinion. We all have opinions about it, and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And like I said, that's just my feelings, is that, they're coming after us, and people are like, well, if they don't come after us about that, they're going to find something else. I said, you know what? They probably will. But
they most definitely will.
Oh, they most definitely will. But do you, do you give them the ammunition just because, like, do you just give up and say, oh, okay, whatever. They're going to do whatever. Like, I can't. This changed my
Now
life. This saved my life.
it's like the same. It's like the when I look at vaping, I look at vaping like Bitcoin, and it is like they're gonna when Bitcoin was new, you know what I'm saying? Bitcoin, they didn't like really look at Bitcoin, but now that they see the potential in Bitcoin, like people got their hands out everywhere, you know what I'm saying, and trying to pocket money, whatever ways they can. And the only thing that really kind of like kills me when it comes to um, a lot of that's going on, I can see the plus side in regulations because you want things you want to make sure that mods are not blowing up and stuff like that. I can understand that situation, but when it comes to knowing damn well that you have someone in your family that smokes cigarettes and that you know that this is a better alternative, and that 9 out of 10 that they probably are vaping in their house, but you're shutting down their future as well. I'm like, this is a little bit not understand. You'd rather see your mother pass away from smoking cigarettes, you know what I'm saying, than try to, promote the positives, you know what I'm saying, about the situation. Like it's just not really understanding to me. Knowing as many people on panels around the United States of America, all of these states and all of these representatives, damn well out of that percentage, that people in their family fucking vape.
Yeah.
Know.
Right.
So,
or they're suffering from smoking related illnesses. How can
right.
they lay their head on their pillow? That was the point I was just going to make. How can they lay their head? How can they vote one way and lay their head on their pillow and, Grandma Martha is dying of COPD. Like, I don't understand. It's really hard to understand.
Only thing that most definitely always, like, you know what I'm saying, revolves back to my mind is the money.
Yeah.
It's the money. It's like, you cannot say what it where the money, well, where the money is going or who's getting money, but is money involved.
Right. I mean, you don't make money off healthy people.
It is most that right. You don't. And not only that, like antibiotics and all this other kind of shit that what I'm saying is on the market. Is like, hey, well, we do something. If we, start this right here, then we're gonna have to end this, and like we make money off of this right here. So that was when I first started, when the whole thing started coming out with all the regulations. That was the first thing that came to my mind. Well, tobacco companies are losing money. They're losing millions a day. So something's about to pop the fuck off.
And pharmaceutical companies too.
So
yeah, and so like if there was one thing, and I know this is hard, we've kind of been touching on it, but if there was like, if you could sum it up and there was one thing that you could say to your state representatives as to why vaping needs to stay around, what would that be?
Oh, for a healthier alternative. You know what I'm saying? We can't change, as as we evolve, change is going to change. Change is inevitable. We have to we have to we have to bring out, new alternatives, because if we don't, then we'll always be stuck in the past. And for a healthier alternative to be available, is fully not understandable as to why it's going through the changes that it's going through now. I understand that everything has to, has its little laws in place and what may have you, but to see companies go out of business, people trying to, live the American dream and, like be able to promote something positive and lose everything, in one fell swoop is like, it's really, it's not American. Like it's not American to me. You know what I'm saying? As many people want to come over here and live over here, it's like, this is not, to me, it's like not even the best place to be anymore. With all the stuff that's being, set, that's being presented. Me personally, I'm just like, I know that, there's someone out here. It's like, to me, I thought that the people, what I'm saying, were trying to save lives in this position. You know what I'm saying? Trying to better the United States of America. And to me, right now, it doesn't look like things are really getting better. Things are just more so getting very, 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 very fucking worse.
Right.
So,
and that you make a really good point with the evolution and the change and all that other stuff, because, I remember, I'm a dinosaur, so, I remember when, doctors smoked in their offices.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, then though that was not, that wasn't a good thing and everything, right? Like if we get stuck, that, how do you discover, and it really is, it's all, for me, it's about public health. If you really care about that, and you, then there shouldn't be any questions. Are we going to be regulated? Absolutely. Are we going to be taxed? Absolutely. But reasonably,
yes.
Like you said, when they just tried to impose a 75% wholesale tax here in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's like, yo, how is somebody supposed to eat?
Right. I mean, they'd all be out of business. Exactly. And like you said, that's not the American way. That's not what the Constitution was based upon. That's not, so yeah, it's crazy.
As much as I always believe that, you know what I'm saying, a person it's like, it's making it more harder for a person to try to make a way these days. When it comes to a lot of these, all these bills are trying to pass in all these states and stuff like that. I just personally, I just like, it makes you feel, it's like, you know what I'm saying, when you get into it, things are good. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of positive stuff into it, and then it's like, bam, you get hit all of a sudden with some shit that you don't even understand. Like, it's like, that this is nowhere near affordable. So it's basically like, this is your way of shutting it down. And
it's prohibition, basically.
And it's like, most definitely, eventually, it's gonna come back around the corner. It's a situation. Now, to me, 100%, vaping is not going to die. You know what I'm saying? As much as they want to kill it, vaping is not going to die. Especially when, again, there's going to be change. Like, let's say if they say, okay, we're not allowing no more regulated mods to come into the United States. Okay, well, shit, there's mods already in the United States, and there's no way of you actually stopping a mod from coming into the United States, because it's like, person over in China, I think it was over in China, somewhere like that, somebody had got a Lamborghini that they wasn't supposed to have over there, but car got wrecked and all kinds of, well, they basically towed the car, they impounded it and everything. But that's like trying to stop cocaine from coming in the United States of America. You ain't stopping it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might stop some, but you ain't stopping all of them. You know what I'm saying? And for e-liquids, as much as, like now you can get, you can go ahead and get the concentrates and do your own thing. So it's not like you can actually stop vaping. Like if someone really wanted to, I mean, just like they have the DIY channel, so a person can just switch over and, stay on the DIY channel and look at the DIY channel for days and order their own extracts, their own VG, PG, and nicotine, and make their own blends all day. You already have equipment, and for those that know how to use RDAs, you're good all day. You're good. You're not going to be able to stop a person from selling coils, because if they wanted to, all they had to do was just like do something through the PayPal and say, hey, just go ahead and, send me that, send me this, pay for, better yet, you're paying for shipping. Send me $10 for the shipping. Of course, this is for the coils, but send me $10 for the shipping, and I'll ship them out to you. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know what you want. You got coils, you got cotton, you got your own juice. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, it's like if you made your own juice, then you have your banana bondage all day, every day of the week. You're still vaping.
You're good.
You're still vaping. At the same time, you can still get more creative and sit back and make blends, try to make different blends for yourself, or, follow everyone who's making these blends and make your own shit. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to stop it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see it going anywhere. I see it most definitely being harder to have a brick and mortar. But as far as like a lot of these online sales and stuff like that, there I see them kind of like continue to, you know what I'm saying, prosper. And even when it comes to, like I said, you know, people just doing their own thing in general, because like for me, I'm not gonna stop. You know, like I have my equipment, so as long as I have my mech mod and I have my splunkers, or I have my mods, I have, as long as they're selling batteries, 18650s, 2700s, what may have you, I can vape.
Right.
So it's a dead
You're
end at the
basically
end.
telling the FDA to just give it up.
They might as well get that shit the hell up, because you're not.
Just get off our case and give it up. You want to regulate a little bit, fine, we're good with that. And you want to, you know, put a little tax on it. I mean, what isn't tax? So, okay, fine. But other than that, give it up.
5%, 10%. You know what I'm saying? That's understandable. But 70%,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's like going to pay for your meal at a restaurant and paying 70% tax. That will cover the goddamn tip, the tax, and all. I mean, that's basically more than the damn meal. You know what I'm saying? You pay more for more than taxes than you did for the meal. Like it's not. And then, like, you know, again, for, like, you know what I'm saying, I feel sorry for the brick and mortar shops a lot of times, because they already have to jack up the price, you know what I'm saying, to be able to make a buck at the end of the day, keep the lights on, pay the rent, you know, feed the employees, you know, and now you got, but at the same time, a person can go online and order that stuff rather than going in the store and doing that, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times brick and mortars are just for people who are new to vaping or just want this stuff then and there. Right. But for a person who's like very knowledgeable, they're like, shit, I'll look at a review, click on the link down below, and go on over here to this website and order this shit for sure. But and at the same time, it's gonna be cheaper than the brick and mortar. So it's like, I feel sorry sometimes for the brick and mortars, especially with all of these laws that's going down and shit like that. You know, trying to pass these high as damn tax percentages. So I just hope that you know, like things most definitely kind of get better and give people an opportunity to be able to make a living and stuff like that.
Right. You know, yeah, that's a really great point. Well, Foolish, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to tell your vape story to me. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all.
You guys are you know, this is all about you guys. So, you know, I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
And we will talk to you next time at the next vape story. So, see you later, guys.